Hi, welcome to the Yarn and Yarns YouTube channel. My name is Angela and all of the places you can find me should be linked in the description box just below this video. Here on the channel you'll find me chatting about my adventures in knitting and spinning and crochet. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I always really appreciate your company, whether you've been here many times before or if this is your first time checking out the channel. I love spending time with you, so thanks for coming to listen to me. This week I have no crochet segment, I'm afraid. I've only managed to put one round onto one of my squares for my cushion, and that's it crochet wise. So I only have knitting and spinning to chat about this week. As I have started to do the last couple of episodes, I'm going to show off all the stuff that I've been working on, and then at the end we'll get into admin stuff and just a general kind of catch up really. I think I'll start with spinning this week. I am happy to say that I finished the last bump of the fondant fibre spin that I've been doing for many weeks now. I'm sure you guys are probably fed up with seeing this yarn. So yes, I am happy to say that I now have 4 hanks of this. Fourth one's gone travelling, it's unwound itself. So roughly 200 grams of fibre all spun up, and yeah, after a bit of a tricky start I actually got into the spin and quite enjoyed it. The first hank that I spun was a little bit overspun and tightly twisted because I was trying to manipulate the fibre into something it didn't really want to be. So once I loosened up a bit and got going, the rest of the spin was actually really enjoyable. So traditionally 3-plied on my spinning wheel, which is a Haldane Shetland. It's a vintage wheel, they don't make them anymore. But yeah, not too much to say about that. These are all ready now to do what I wish with them. Some of them will be getting gifted in some packages that I'll be sending off, and I might actually keep one skein for myself. Not sure what the fibre content was in those skeins. I think there's probably some merino. There was definitely some other sort of wool-based fibre, some stellina or some angelina, some sparkle. But yes, the fibre I originally purchased was from D-Stash, and the original entry on the Ladies Ravelry page said that she wasn't sure what the fibre content was. So yeah, it was a bit of a mystery. Nothing on my drop spindles at the moment. I might have ordered a bump or two of fibre this week. Was a bit naughty, especially after my splurge in London on some lovely new yarns, but there's one braid of fibre that should be coming my way soon that I think is going to be my next drop spindle project. On my wheel though, I've started a new spin, and I am hoping to spin for a sweater. I'm actually recording sections as I go along on that spin, which I will put in a extra video, which will be a bit more detail on the process that I'm using. But for the moment I'm taking a slight pause and a back step on that spin. So just to give you a quick summary, I'm using a video that I saw from Tracy, who is Passionate Spinner. This is quite an old video from, I think she posted it a couple of years ago, taking us through the process of how she does a combo spin. She picks a bunch of braids from her stash that all have some sort of unifying colour theme. She's not worried about the fibre mix, but she splits the braids and then spins them into a much larger quantity for a sweater. So I decided to have a go at that approach, but I've veered off slightly from the way that Tracy explains how to do things. So her starting point is several 100-gram braids that she breaks down. My starting point were some braids but also some little fibre samples. So I decided to break all of my fibre down into sort of 10-gram bumps, because that was the weight of some of the smallest pieces of fibre that I had. And I've just chucked them in the basket, and I've just started randomly spinning until my bobbin's full up. And I've actually spun my first bobbin, so I can show that to you. So this is, well, it's not a complete bobbin because I might be backtracking on what I'm doing. My original thought process was just to grab random blobs of fibre out of the basket, and on here so far there are 3 different types of fibre. Underneath here, which is kind of disappearing, but this little orange section that you see at the top was some merino and I think silk blend. This fibre over here with the green and the yellow was a really interesting South Down, which was really quite spongy to spin. So I wanted to spin some of that up to see if I could kind of get similar thicknesses with the different types of fibre. And then this third section here, which is a sort of rusty orange going into browns, was another mystery fibre that I was gifted as part of a spin along by Chanel of the Piper Nell podcast quite some time ago, just as I was getting into spinning, and I've been sort of saving that braid in my stash. It's definitely a mix of fibre. I think there might be some bamboo in there. That one's gorgeous to spin. Anyway, as I was spinning along, it occurred to me that by the time I fill up my bobbin, I could have maybe 5 or 6 different types of fibre, and my idea is to do a 2-ply. And so I'll fill up one bobbin, maybe 5 or 6 different types of fibre, second bobbin, maybe 5 or 6 different types of fibre, and then ply the 2 bobbins together. But I'm a bit worried now that I could end up with something that, rather than being harmonious, might end up looking a bit like a regurgitated dog's dinner. So the way Tracy explains her process, I think she's 3-plying her fibre, and she's spinning one bobbin full of one type of fibre, another with another, third with the third, and then plying those together. So there's big long sort of parts that are consistently of the same fibre. I'm not really explaining myself very well. Whereas my bobbin is going to be lots of little parts of different types of fibre blended with lots of other little different types of fibre. I'm not sure if that's going to give a nice sort of harmonious consistency, or whether it's just going to look a bit odd. So I've decided to stop here. I've got 3 sections of fibre on this bobbin. I'm going to spin another bobbin with 3 just randomly pulled from my basket sections of fibre. Then I'm going to apply them together and see what that initial skein looks like, to see whether it is harmonious or just, yeah, regurgitated dog's dinner. Before I actually commit to spinning all of the fibre like this. Yeah, that's my thoughts at the moment. So I'm starting to spin the second bobbin and see what happens before I commit to just going full steam ahead with this. I may need to take a step back and rethink my plans and separate my fibres back out again, and maybe spin full bobbins of the same fibres, and then I'm just plying 2 types of fibre together. So anyway, by next week I should know whether I'm going full steam ahead with my original plan. On to knitting. So this week I spent quite a lot of time on my travel knitting project. Even if you haven't watched them, you may have seen that I put some London vlogs up on the channel this week. I spent a couple of nights and a couple of days in London with James. It was his last week of working away for the client that he has been contracted to, so he's back in Cardiff now, which is nice. But I decided to take advantage of the fact that he was in London still, and took a couple of days off work and went and stayed and did a few touristy things. So I decided to cast on a new project in celebration of that little trip. And my project's been living in this gorgeous, cute little bag that I think I showed off last week. Was a gift from my friend Sylvia, and I've got my Harry Potter Muggle-worthy badge on there. But it's these really cute London buses, which is perfect for my little travel project. And I cast on with this skein of yarn from Unbelievable, and this was a one-of-a-kind colourway called Going Underground, and it's all these vibrant colours inspired by the different colours that you'll see on a London Underground map. So I have managed to finish my first sock. There was some amazing flashing and pooling going on, which if this had happened in a garment I would not be a fan of, but for a pair of socks I have no problem with it at all. I think the more fun colours on my feet the better. And this bit's quite fun because the pooling sort of changed, so it almost looked a bit like, to me, a sort of sky and then a reflection in a river. So yeah, it was quite fun watching this work up. But you may notice that I'm showing you the reverse stocking stitch side. I actually knit the sock the usual right side out, and that's what it looks like, the right side out. but I really liked the effect of the reverse stockinette side rather than the right side, so I decided that this will become my right side. So what I did, I cast on my cuff as usual, knit round and round down the leg as I usually would, and then I turned the sock inside out to put my heel in, and then I turned the sock back the other way so the right side was facing to knit down my foot. I've got contrast cuff and heel, but I decided just to keep going on the toe. These are 2 mini skeins from the set that I had from Caroline. This is her Rainbows but Darker set. I used some of the minis on the sock tube that I recently finished, but I decided that these 2 colours looked pretty nice with the colours in the Going Underground skein, so I've gone with a blue cuff and a green heel. So one sock is finished. I actually kitchened the toe on the train home. So this was started on the train to London, and the first sock was finished on the way home, so that was really nice. Started the second sock also on the train home. This has not been picked up since I've got back, but I've got the cuff done and I've started on the leg. This project is not going to be a priority for me. It was a fun travel knitting project. It will now probably become my cinema knitting over the next sort of few weeks until that gets finished off. Things that I've worked on this week, I knitted 2 squares for my giant garter stitch blanket. If you watched my November goals video, I chatted about the things that I wanted to get done this month if I can, and I've got a few squares to knit on this blanket. I've got a big basket here of squares that I previously knit, and I want to turn this into a blanket to gift to James's mum and dad for Christmas if I get time. So I just need to knit 3 more squares, and then I'll have enough squares to start sewing together, and then I'm going to knit a border. I'm using various colours of it's a mixture of Debbie Bliss Roma and Rowan Big Wool. It's a super chunky yarn, and these squares take no time at all to knit up, and I'm planning on making the border in this sort of creamy colour. So yes, a couple of squares done for that. I've also worked a little bit on my Damson gin socks, which are another one on my November's goal list. So the last time you saw these, they were here where the little moosey marker is hanging out. So I've popped in the heel, and I've also started on the leg. I've done almost 2 repeats. I've got one more damson bobble row left to do, and that will be the second repeat done. And on the first sock I did 4 repeats, and then there's quite a lot of knitting because it's got a fold over cuff with this picot edge. But yes, I am going to try and concentrate on these this week alongside my next project, and hopefully these will be a finished object next week. I added a couple of rows to the rib on my midsummer sweater, which is the colourwork sweater that I showed off. I was hoping to have that finished this weekend, but I forgot to bring home, I had the project hanging out at work, and I forgot to bring home the extra ball of the brown colour that I needed for the rib. So yeah, that was not to be, but that's okay. It's meant that I have had a bit of time to concentrate and focus on the project that you will probably get very bored of seeing over the next few weeks. I have started the test knit that I'm doing for the lovely Sylvia, who is with Cherries on Top too. And a couple of episodes ago I mentioned that I'll be test knitting her Caledonia sweater. Well, I think at the time the sweater didn't have a name, but she's now decided to call it Caledonia. And so yeah, I've made a start on the first sleeve of that sweater. I find sleeves terribly frustrating to knit, and I don't know why. I know some people love them, and I know they're basically just a bigger version of a sock. You know, there's not that many stitches on there. I think I just don't know why. I just find them really frustrating. So I decided to start with the sleeve and yeah, go from there. Sylvia recommends doing sleeves 2 at a time, but again, I really don't like that process. I don't mind knitting 2 at a time sleeves on baby garments, but for adult garments, I find it cumbersome and really slow. I know it's probably no slower than knitting one entire sleeve and then going back and doing another, but just in my head it just feels really slow, so I'm doing mine one at a time. And yeah. So this is my progress so far. I'm knitting one of the larger sizes. I think I'm knitting the 3XL, which should give me a garment of about, I think the finished chest circumference is about 56 inches, and it's designed to have, I can't remember exactly how much ease, but I think that gives me slightly more ease than recommended in the pattern, but the next size down would have been a lot less ease and the next size up would have been too much. So yeah, I'm knitting this from Rowan Moordale yarn, which is a lovely British yarn, which is a mix of wool and alpaca. So it's 30% alpaca, 70% wool, and I'm using the bronzed colourway 6, which is a nice sort of deep rusty brown colour. And yeah, I've started the double moss stitch portion. The deadline for this test sweater is the middle of January, and the main body of the sweater is similar to this. It's got this lovely cable panel around the bottom, and then a lot of double moss stitch in the top of the sweater. So I think it's going to be a real challenge for me to try and get the sweater in this size done in that 2-month deadline. If you're not familiar with this moss stitch or seed stitch, it's basically knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one, which I find is quite hard going on my hands. So I'm going to have to be a little bit mindful of that. I'm going to try and put a dent in each day, but I won't be able to knit on this project for as long, not sort of overtax myself. But I need to try and concentrate on this project, otherwise there's no way I'm going to get it done by the deadline. So yeah, you'll be seeing a lot of this over the next few weeks. I am hoping to get my first sleeve finished this week and maybe cast on for the second. That's kind of my unofficial goal. But it's double knit yarn, so it's knitting up fairly quickly, but as I say, I just have to be mindful. Now I'm into this seed stitch section. So that's everything to share with you in terms of what I've been working on this week. I feel like I've flitted around, aside from my sock, which I took on my trip with me. I feel like I've flitted around and done a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and sort of not really made a ton of progress on anything, but you know, every little counts. Every row is a row closer to getting something finished or making progress, so all good. So the things that I've got left to chat to you about, I received a lovely little gift in the mail this week, so I'm going to quickly show that off. I also am going to chat about the cows that we've got going on, and I'm going to show off the prize that we've got to give away in the 100th vlog, which is fast approaching. We've only got a few weeks left now and we will be up to 100 vlogs, which is kind of crazy really. So yes, the first thing, a little bit of a gift that I received in the mail, and this was thanks to the lovely Dawn. Hi Dawn. She sent me this gorgeous little card with a bee on it, and she was so kind. She surprised me with some minis to go in my crochet blanket in the most gorgeous colours. I love those, really sort of autumnal tones for those three. I love those sort of autumnal jewelly tones, and then a really nice bright pop of neon, so they're going to look fabulous in my granny striped blanket. Thank you so much, Dawn. And then she also sent me some tea, all different types of pucker tea, and I've not tried any of these, so I'm really looking forward to giving those a try. And then finally, she also sent me these gorgeous markers, and oh, these are just so pretty. I'm getting them out of the bag so I can show them to you. Aren't they fabulous? Super bright orange. Oh, they're just gorgeous. It's not going to show up on camera, but the sort of beads on there are sort of multi-variegated orange, and yeah, they're just so pretty. So thank you so much, Dawn. There's also a progress keeper in the little bag here, which I think is a slice of pizza, which is so much fun. Can you see that? It was such a lovely surprise, and yes, thanks Dawn. Mwah! Great big woolly hugs to you. So kind, and yeah, I'm just blown away by the generosity of the people that watch my channel here. It's just lovely. And speaking of the generous people that watch the channel, as usual, I like to update you with any donations that I've received through my Ko-fi link. And this week I've received £9 worth of donations. So thank you very much to anyone who has been able to donate. There's no sort of pressure or obligation. The channel will stay the same, but it's just a way for people to be able to support the content that I put up here on the channel if they wish to or are able to. And I'm working towards a goal of purchasing a train ticket so we can take another day out to Bath. I know some of you prefer the videos like this where I'm chatting about my projects, and I completely understand, and any of the out and about videos are extras, so you won't miss anything if you don't want to watch those or you don't want to keep up. But I know there are a lot of you out there who do like coming out and about with me as well, and a bit like when we went to London, if we go to Bath there will be some trips to yarn shops, so it won't be completely off topic for the channel. Over in the Ravelry group, we've still got two cows going on. We've got the Mount Pleasant cow. I showed off my finished Mount Pleasant last week. It is a make along that I am running in conjunction with Ellie of Curio Yarns, who has the Curio Yarns hand-dyed Etsy shop, and also the Curio Yarns podcast here on YouTube. We are knitting along a Mount Pleasant t-shirt. You don't have to knit that pattern. You can knit any 4-ply short-sleeved sweater type pattern, and that cow runs until the 1st of December, so there's a couple of weeks left if you've been knitting along with us. Then hop on over to the Ravelry threads and share your progress, and of course also your finished objects over in the thread there. And I'm also running the whip along, the works in progress along, so anything you started before the 1st of September and want some encouragement and some impetus to get finished, there are chatter threads and finished object threads in the Ravelry group. The group's linked below, and I shall be pulling prizes from the finished objects thread at the end of the year, so that finishes on the 31st of December, and I suspect I will pull some prizes during the first episode in January. And the last thing to chat to you about before we disappear, I've been saying for weeks now that I want to show off some of the prizes that I have for the 100th episode giveaway, and I got donated some lovely things by some makers when I went to the Knit Tea retreat, and I've also popped in a few extras mostly connected to the retreat actually. So first off, a beautiful project bag. This was donated by the lovely Emma of Eldenwood Craft. Hi Emma. Emma recently had a shop update, so go check out her Etsy store if you are able to. And she also announced on Instagram that she's not able to get this beautiful bird's fabric anymore. So this is a super special project bag. So one of you lucky winners will be taking this away. I love Emma's bags. I own several, and it's going to be really difficult to part with this. But yes, if you can't wait for the giveaway to get your hands on one of Emma's bags, then do go over and check out her shop. You can find her at eldenwoodcraft.co.uk. She's also given us this lovely notebook, which will go into the project bag. There's some lovely squared off paper. I love this kind of paper, and I use my notebooks like this. I've got a few of these from Emma. I use them all the time. They're perfect for fitting in to your project bags. I also purchased at the Knit Tea retreat a lovely badge from Jenny of All About Yarn, which says shush, I'm counting, which I just love because that is heard often here in my house. I'm popping in a stitch marker that I purchased from Caroline, who is Colourful Creativity. It's gorgeous yellow glass beads, and Caroline makes all of these glass beads. Oh, they're just glorious. Hopefully you can just about make that out. It's not going to be super focused, but so yes, that is in the prize package. Caroline also very generously donated a Ravelry download code for her sock pattern. It's the Rainbow Bridges sock pattern. So that is going in the prize package. See, lots of fabulous prizes in here. The fabulous Fee of Flourish Fibres donated a mini skein of her naturally dyed yarns, so that will also be in the package. This is so gorgeous. This colour is just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And it will make a fabulous addition to your blankets. if you are a fan of knitting gnomes like me, or, you know, making little amigurumis, this would be perfect sort of quantity for that. You may even be able to squeeze yourself like a pair of the little wrist cuff warmers out of this skein. Is beautiful. So that is also in the prize package. In our goodie bag that we had at the Knit Tea retreat, there were also a couple of other minis donated by other makers, so I'm going to include the minis that were in my package in this prize as well. So the first one is a little skein from Miranda, who is one of our local dyers here in Cardiff, and you'll have heard me speak about Miranda before. I stock her yarns in my shop. That's her label by Miranda May, and this is a little sample of her number 20 colourway, and I have a big skein of this, so I decided I could definitely part with that to pop into the prize package. And then we also had a lovely mini skein in our set from Wool is the Answer, and so I'm going to pop that one. It's this one is colour Midnight, and it's a beautiful dark sort of blue with greeny tones. It's the complexity of that colour is not really going to show up on the camera, but it's really lovely, and I was tempted to keep that myself to pop in my scrap blanket. Decided in order to give you a flavour of the retreat, that could go into the prize package as well. So all of this will be given away to one lucky winner when we get to the 100th episode giveaway. I also have some secondary prizes to give away in that giveaway. Caroline was very generously donated several download codes for her patterns, so there will be some extra winners who get those. And to go with those download codes, I'm also going to put up another one of Caroline's markers as a prize, which is this lovely rainbow. And if you follow me over on Instagram, I'm Rainbow Ange, so I thought that would be the perfect little prize. And then secondly, I'm also going to give away this really lovely pendant, which is also a mini crochet hook. Again, that's from Caroline, and I purchased that from her. So that will go with one of the download codes. So a couple of prize winners will receive, one will receive a marker and the download code, and the other will receive this little crochet hook, which is perfect for fixing mistakes or just crochet on the go. And again, the download code for the sock pattern. So I hope you are excited for those prizes. If we also get up to 450 subscribers, we're getting really close, but if we get there by the time the 100th episode rolls around, I might also donate an additional prize, another skein of yarn from my stash. But yeah, we'll see if we get there. Thank you to everyone who likes these videos, leaves comments, has subscribed to the channel, shares over on Instagram and other social media platforms that they're watching the channel. I really appreciate the Yarn and Yarns community. It's grown into a really lovely place, and yeah, it's just a joy for me to record these videos and put them up onto YouTube for you. I started this channel as really a method to kind of record my journey as a yarn shop owner. Over time it's morphed into me just chatting about my works in progress, really, with the occasional bit of shop talk. But yeah, never did I really dream that I would meet so many lovely people and make friends. No, she's not going to come and say hello. She's not happy about something. James is home today, so James is downstairs and I'm up here in the craft room, so she's probably not happy that her humans are not sat in the same room. She gets a bit grumpy about that sort of thing. Got her. She will not be happy about this. Say hello. Can you say hello to everyone? Come on. She does not like being picked up. I make her do it though. I make her give me cuddles. Anyway, yes, that's everything for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this week you get to do some of the things that you enjoy, and until next time, great big woolly hugs to you all. Bye for now.